Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all my Gaia Knight Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for post Rise of the Duelist. Being the main focus of the Rise of the Duelist booster set, the Gaia Knight deck is a deck that a lot of people were definitely hyped up for with this set, and the best thing about it is there wasn't really anything that was too high a rarity for the deck for those looking to complete it. I'm really happy just with the play style overall of the deck as well, and I still am missing a couple cards for the deck, but I was just so excited to make the deck profile, just to show off the new play style that Gaia Knight can do, that I want to go ahead and make the deck profile and show just some Gaia, themed cards that I have to replace some of the cards I still don't yet have for the deck, and that you can use, as space fillers until you get those cards as well for the deck profile. So let's go ahead and get started with the video. So for the actual new Gaia monsters, we definitely received a good amount of different, forms of Gaia the Fierce Knight. The first one being Gaia the Fierce Knight Origin. Now, for the spots where I don't have Origin, I'm using Lord Gaia the Fierce Knight. Much more easier card to obtain just because the Gaia support is still new. But with Gaia the Fierce Knight Origin, this card can be treated as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of a warrior monster. You can only use each of the following effects of Gaia the Fierce Knight Origin once per turn. You can send one level 5 or higher monster from your hand to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. During the battle phase, quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one monster on the field whose current attack is different from its original attack. It becomes original to its original attack. So with the new Gaia Fusion monster, you can make it lose 2600 attack to destroy a card on your opponent's field. So being able to revert that monster's attack back to normal using Gaia the Fierce Knight Origin is a big help for sure. And being a level 4 monster, it's one of the level 4 monsters we run in the deck that you can easily summon out onto the field without having to rely on a tribute summon, or if you use it for its special summon effect, you don't even have to use your normal summon just for that easy discard setup. For one of the other level 7 monsters, I am running Gaia the Magical Knight. Now I have the original Gaia the Fierce Knight, which I wouldn't normally run in the deck, but just as a spot to fill until you collect your Gaia the Magical Knights. This card is always treated as Gaia the Fierce Knight, so just remember that with the numbers that you run with Gaia the Fierce Knight as well, since this card is also always treated. It's not just when it's on the field or graveyard, so that's why you can't run any additional numbers of Gaia the Fierce Knight while you run Gaia the Magical Knight, because then you'll be over the number of, that specific type of card that you can run in the deck. If you control no monsters or your opponent controls a monster with 2300 or more attack, you can normal summon this card without attributing. If this card is normal or special summon, you can special summon one level 5 dragon from your hand or graveyard in defense position. You can only use this effect of Gaia the Magical Knight once per turn. So with this card, you have more and more setup for your field, being able to basically send the Curse of Dragon to the graveyard with your Gaia the Fierce Origin, and then special summon it back with Gaia the Magical Knight to fusion summon out any of our Gaia fusion monsters, which usually require Gaia the Fierce Knight and some, sort of dragon monster as well. So that setup with Gaia the Magical Knight makes it all the better, and most of the time with your opponent going first, there's a good chance they might set out a monster with 2300 or more attack for you to take advantage of with this card. And for one of the boss monster Gaia monsters not residing in the extra deck, I want to run 3 Soldier Gaia the Fierce Knight. I have the last spot for Lord Gaia the Fierce Knight for the slot for Soldier Gaia the Fierce Knight to have a playset of 3. Quick effect, you contribute 1 Dragon Fusion monster, special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summoned, you can target 1 attack position monster on the field, change it to defense position. You contribute this card, add 1 level 7 or higher warrior monster from your deck to your hand, except for Soldier Gaia the Fierce Knight. You can only use this effect of Soldier Gaia the Fierce Knight once per turn. So that setup is to search out Gaia the Magical Knight to our hand to use as well, so we have more and more power plays with all of our different cards in the deck. And with this, we have plenty of ways to get out fusion monsters in this deck, so relying on Soldier Gaia for those plays definitely does come in handy also. So I like to run max numbers of all the different monsters we run in the deck, so you have plenty of options and resources to go into for whether it's just getting your boss monsters out on the field or just fusion summoning into your different fusion monsters we run also. And for the actual dragons that we run in the deck, the only one I'm running is Curse of Dragon, the Cursed Dragon. This card was available in the Special Edition, but also in Common in the new Rise of the Duelist booster set. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add one spell or trap from your deck to your hand that specifically lists Gaia the Dragon Champion in its card text. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Gaia the Dragon Champion in your monster zone, negate the effects of face-up monsters your opponent currently controls with attack less than or equal to until the end of this turn. You can only use each effect of Curse the Dragon, the Cursed Dragon, once per turn. That search power definitely does come in handy for a good amount of the different, spells that we run in this deck, and also just being able to search out one of the power spells, one of the old but goody ones also, which is Spiral Spear Strike, for giving our Gaia monsters piercing damage on the field. So you want 3 of this because the dragon requirement is needed for a lot of our different plays, and just with the special summon option of Gaia the Magical Knight to bring this card back onto the field to use, means we'll always have that resource to use, and the normal or special summon effect to add a spell or trap from our deck to our hand, which we have plenty of from the new set for Gaia the Fierce Knight. And lastly, for the monsters, I'm also running 3 of the new Artillery Catapult Turtle. I have the perfect substitute until I get my playset of this card. Also, it's actually the highest rarity card in the set, even higher than our Gaia, the Magical Knight of Dragons. With this card, you can tribute 1 monster, special summon 1 Gaia, the Fierce Knight monster, or 1 level 5 dragon from your hand or deck. You can only use this effect of Artillery Catapult Turtle once per turn. You can even tribute Artillery Catapult Turtle to special summon out those monsters. So with this card being your normal summon, it's just an easy way to get any of the cards you need for the deck out onto the field. Catapult Turtle has a little different effect, but still I found it very fitting since they went off of the fact that this card was used for the Castle of Dark Illusion play, and then actually including it in the deck for Gaia the Fierce Knight makes it that much more amazing of a card. And that is it for the monsters I wanted to stick to as, pure of a Gaia the Fierce Knight deck. And all the cards run really, really well together. And we have plenty of search power in this deck as well to search out all of these different cards. So for these spells, we have a new fusion spell in the form of Spiral Fusion. You fusion summon 1 Dragon Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material. If you special summon Gaia the Dragon Champion by this effect, it gains 2600 attack, and it can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. So even with Gaia, the Magical Knight of Dragons, being able to lose 2600 to destroy a card on the field, you won't have to put it all the way down to 0 because of your Spiral Fusion, giving it the additional 2600 attack for that real power boost. So having this card for that option means that you'll also get the 2 attacks afterwards, which it should still be hopefully at the 2600 attack, but still be able to rely on that when going up against your opponent's monsters, and hopefully also giving it the piercing battle damage depending on what you searched out with Curse of Dragon also. So 3 of this is definitely needed. It's easy to fusion summon as long as you have the resources from your hand or field to use, and setting them up in the graveyard can give you more plays later on also. And like I said, one of the older spells we're running in the deck, but still very, very useful because it is searchable, and that is Spiral Spear Strike. If Gaia the Fierce Knight, Swift Gaia the Fierce Knight, or Gaia the Dragon Champion you control attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. If Gaia the Dragon Champion inflicts battle damage with this effect, draw 2 cards, then discard 1 card. So more graveyard setup. You can even search and set up more additional Curse of Dragon, the Cursed Dragon, in your graveyard with this card. And also the fact that your Gaia will be attacking twice during the battle phase means that piercing damage will do more and more damage even if your opponent tries to play on the defensive with their cards. I like running 2 of it because other than that, it kind of gets sort of dead draw like later on, because you always see this card when you can easily search it out. Unlike cards like Spiral Fusion, which you definitely want to run the max, you always have fusion plays to go into. For more search power, I'm also running 3 of the new field spell, which is Galloping Gaia. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects during the battle phase while Gaia the Dragon Champion is in your monster zone. You can activate one of the following effects. You can reveal 1 Gaia the Fierce Knight monster in your hand, add 1 level 5 dragon monster from your deck to your hand, or you can reveal 1 level 5 dragon monster in your hand, add 1 Gaia the Fierce Knight monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Galloping Gaia once per turn. So depending on what monster you have the search power with this field spell to get the other resource you need for your go-to fusion plays. Curse of Dragon and Gaia the Fierce Knight working well together for these plays, and then also just having the option to protect your Gaia when it's attacking during the battle phase, as well as Gaia the Dragon Champion. And I also run 3 Gateway to Chaos, originally a Blackluster Soldier card, but it's also able to add 1 Gaia the Fierce Night Monster, so it's just an additional search power when it is activated. So you can activate this card and then go into your Galloping Gaia play, being able to set that up and then have more and more search, being able to search out Gaia the Fierce Knight and then use Galloping Gaia to search out your Curse of Dragon. So max numbers of all these field spells because they add plenty of numbers for all these searches we can do in the deck as well. And also another personal choice of mine, I like to run 2 Super Polymerization. This is just an option for more fusion plays because we do run a good number of fusions in the extra decks. You always have the options to go for. And with some of the other fusions we're running, just as an added backup option to use some of our opponent's resources, even with our Fusion Sky Galloping Gaia the Dragon Champion, it needs 1 dragon monster to make it. So if your opponent has the dragon monster, it can be the fusion requirement right then and there using Super Polymerization for that play, or just giving you more additional summons during the battle phase as well for your Gaia monsters. And with the 2 different types of field spells, I like to run the 1 set rotation. We're getting to the 1-ofs now in the deck, just so you can set up one of your field spells with additional search, but also giving your opponent one if they're not running a Gaia deck, one that definitely won't help them with any of their plays that they might do. So the set rotation definitely comes in handy, along with terraforming to search out whichever field spell you need if you've already used one, or if you've used your Gateway to Chaos and you want to search out Galloping Gaia, that much better. Also, 1 Reinforcements of the Army. It only has 1 search in the deck, and that is our Gaia the Fierce Knight Origin, but still a good search to get out for this monster you can easily special summon onto the field. 1 Reasoning, we have plenty of different level monsters as well to set up, and then if your opponent guesses it right, setting up cards like Curse of Dragon in the graveyard just means we can easily special summon them back even with some of our trap cards. More special summoning also comes in handy with the 1 Monster Reborn that I run in the deck just for more resources onto the field, since the Gaia Fusion spell doesn't, let you banish from the graveyard. It has to be from hand or field, so getting it onto the field to use with Monster Reborn makes it all the better. And I also run 3 Call by the Grave just as a final spot for stopping my opponent's hand traps. If you did want to run hand traps in the deck, you could try taking out the 2 Super Polymerizations and the 1 Monster Reborn to try a playstate of Nibiru, Effect Veiler, or Ash Blossom, depending on what you prefer preference-wise, but that's if you do want to run the hand trap spots. But Call by the Grave, still love running it, so you always have those options to stop your opponent's hand traps. And that is it for these spells. We'll now move on to the traps. For the traps, I'm running the new ones that were added in Rise of the Duelists, and that is 2 Spiral Reborn. You can target 1 level 7 or lower dragon monster in your graveyard, special summon it. If you special summon a Gaia the Dragon Champion by this effect, your opponent cannot target it with card effects, and it cannot be destroyed by their card effects. You can only activate 1 Spiral Reborn per turn, so being able to attack with that monster without any fear while using Spiral Reborn is great. It also just gives you resources, being able to summon that level 7 or lower dragon monster. So even just being able to get out Curse of Dragon, the Cursed Dragon, onto the field to reuse for its own effects makes it all the better as well. And lastly, for the trap cards, I'm running 2 Spiral Discharge. While Gaia the Dragon Champion is in your monster zone, your opponent's monsters can only target Gaia the Dragon Champion for attacks. And when this card is declared involving Gaia the Dragon Champion, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. So along with the destruction power of Gaia the Magical Knight of Dragons, you have Spiral Discharge to rely on as well. And these cards are also searchable with Curse of Dragons, so all the better to get the specific one you need to your hand to use. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. We're maxing out the numbers of the fusion monsters in the deck. So 3 Gaia, the Magical Knight of Dragons. You need 1 Gaia, the Fierce Night Monster, and 1 level 5 dragon to make it. This card's name becomes Gaia, the Dragon Champion while on the field. You can only use each of the following effects of Gaia, the Magical Knight of Dragons once per turn. During the main phase quick effect, you can target 1 other card on the field. Then this card loses exactly 2600 attack, and if it does, destroy that card. And when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can make this card gain 2600 attack. So along with the power boost of being able to gain after the 2 attacks, if you're doing piercing battle damage, if it's at 5200 attack because of the fusion spell, making it lose the attack and then go back up to 5200 again after it destroys the first monster can mean it's the game over for your opponent if they attack into another monster for piercing damage with 5200 attack total. A very, very scary move for sure with this new fusion. And for the other fusion, I potentially want to run 3 Sky Galloping, Gaia, the Dragon Champion. So just for now, for the placeholder, it searches out Spiral Spear Strike when it is special summoned. So a great search power for that spell card. And when this card declares an attack on an opponent's monster, you can change the battle position of that monster, switching it to defense so you can inflict piercing battle damage while Spiral Strike is on the field. I have a normal Gaia, the Dragon Champion, and 1 Starving Venom, just because I only have 1 of the Sky Galloping Gaia, but still great because of the super polarization play to use, because also some of our Gaia cards, including Cursed Dragon and also Soldier Gaia, are dark, which can be used for Starving Venom in the deck. And I also run 1 Mud Dragon of the Swamp. This is just for, you need 2 monsters with the same attribute but different types. So being able to use all the different types we run in the deck, and then also with our opponent's monsters, depending on what they summon out, with super polymerization makes it all the better. And for the Link monsters, I run 1 Barricade Board Blocker, just for the Field Spell Recycle, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Cross Sheep, 1 Predaplant Vert Anaconda. For the fusion, Spiral Fusion that we use, this card's a great help for sure. 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Borreload Dragon, and just for the special play, the 1 Gaia Dragon, the Thunder Charger. When you can make the Xyz, it's definitely a shock for your opponent, just for all those that remember all the different forms that Gaia the Dragon Champion came in. And this is definitely a fun one for sure, because it already has piercing battle damage for its own effect. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. I definitely can't wait to collect up all the cards, because it's definitely a deck I'm going to look forward to playing and testing out more, because I've always been a fan of Gaia, the Fierce Knight, ever since I did my first deck profile on this channel of it. And until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.